Assalamualaikum and welcome to Jan Sewing Solutions. Our today's topic is sewing for the mums or sewing for the elderly. So first of all, before I go on to actually show you or first of all I'm going to show you what I did, and then I will talk a little bit about this topic, which is quite close to my heart. So this is a suit that I've stitched up for my mum. It's on linen, and a number of things to bear in mind when sewing. One, for the elderly, and two, the plus sizes. Mum is quite a large lady, so she obviously and she likes to wear something that is obviously comfortable for her age. She spends a lot of time obviously lying down and in bed and so on, and I don't want anything for her that's uncomfortable. So unlike early days, what she used to wear was a lot of mixed fibers like polyesters and so on. I tend to choose a lot of linen and cottons for her now because they're a lot more softer and they're kinder to the skin. She has a skin condition which she is better off wearing delicate fabrics and also quite loose fitting fabrics, suits, sorry. So this suit, generally when I buy for her, she requires 2.5 yards in a 60-inch wide, or 3.25 in 3.25. This is for kameez. 2.5 for the kameez and 2.5 for the salwar in an ordinary fabric, which for a 60-inch wide fabric. For a 45-inch fabric, she requires 3.25 for a kameez and 2.75 for a salwar. Now, one of the problems that we have, being a retailer, I had this problem in my own shop as well, and this is a problem that many of the other retailers have, or even the consumers have then, is that when you go to a shop and when you say that I want 3.25 of this fabric because it's a large lady and I've got to sew for her, they will turn around and say, no, we can't give you that because it ruins our suit. Now, I can understand the viewpoint of the shopkeeper as well. Being a shopkeeper myself, I had a similar problem. So what I always tended to do was buy two suits. So if it was 60-inch wide, I would buy 4 yards and 4 yards, and then I would make mum a suit, and the fabric that I would have left over I would make either for myself or for one of the girls. And that basically meant that the fabric that I had left over was often slightly less than what, if we bought 2 yards for ourselves, we would have a bit left over. But if I bought it for mum, I required extra. So we compromised, and that is a very good way of actually getting the two suits out of the fabrics, rather than having, so when you have it cut 4 yards, and have them cut together, and that way what you will have is the fabric that you have left over from one, you combine it into the other. So that solves the problem of the fabric. Now, one of the other problems that you have is obviously we don't want to be dressed same as mum. Especially, I don't mind dressing same as my mum, but if I was making this for the girls, then obviously they don't want it grannified. So what I would do then is to theirs I would add different trimmings and make it a different design, so that girls tend to love paler colors like this, but they wouldn't like the design that makes it look older. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the same fabric and we're going to do a younger version where it gives you an example of how you can modify something that's an old, shall I say, an old biddy suit into a younger version. Well, anyway, however you want to label it, what we're going to do is we're going to see a transformation of the same fabric into being made for a younger version and also the older version. So this is mum's suit. What I've done is, this is on linen, it's pure linen. So with linen and fabrics like these, they don't have, unless they're weighed down, what will happen is it will crumple up, especially as she's spending a lot of time sitting down. When she sits, it will crumple up and it will go up, and that makes it uncomfortable for her. It makes it tacky and uncomfortable for me. So what I would like to do is actually add something to it, so that when she stands up, the weight of it would automatically make it drop, and she would get a far better drop. Okay, so what I've done is I've added the extension piece to the bottom, which is in a slightly heavier texture, and then I finished it off with a very light sort of coloured lace, and then I've done the neckline in the same, just put a patti on. She tends to like wearing the patti type of gala. Before she would have galati, but now she finds it a little bit suffocating, so I just do a round neckline for her, just a little bit wide, and generally finish it for her. So this is the first of the suits that I've stitched for Mum. Mum is making plans on going to Pakistan very soon, so I want to make these type of clothes for her. In the next video, what I'm going to show you is another suit that I will be making for her, and I'm going to talk a little bit about sewing for mums. So there's two parts to this video. Next, I'm going to show you, well, I'll give you the glimpse of the one that I've cut as the younger version. Now this was the fabric that I had left over from Mum's suit. It's just an ordinary kameez. I've cut the two front and back, and now I didn't have fabric left over for the sleeves, but I want to add different color sleeves anyway, because I want it to give it a little bit more of a better look. Now what I've done with this is I had limited fabric from this left over. Basically I've got two gears, two tanas, and one was shorter than the other, so I've left a little bit at the top, because what I want to do is the kind of sleeves that I add to this, I want to add like a yoke to this dress on the top. The yoke can be at the front or the back. We'll see how we decide to sort of do this, but this is going to be the kameez, and I'm going to take you out on a shopping tour later on today, where I'm going to select something to go with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of this fabric to one of the stores that I buy laces and fabrics from, and we're going to find something to go with this, so that we can make it into a glamorous outfit for a younger girl, and then have the mother and the daughter, or the mother and the granddaughter, similar but different. So keep on watching. Inshallah, I will be sharing that with you. Do watch the next video, where I will be having a bit of a conversation on sewing for mums.